Welcome on in, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode here of Dbacks Dispatch. As we have the full trio back here once again, with our man Gabe joining us from all the way across, at least halfway across the world, as he is in beautiful, bright, sunny Japan, enjoying his time over there. So, Gabe, thank you for making some time on your trip to join the boys to talk about some D-backs ball, because there has been some news. It's been nice. It hasn't been just one of those where we're going to be here to talk about just some, game recaps and talk about all that, which there is a game going on currently where Corbin Burns is not looking too good, but hey, it's spring training. I'm not going to overreact yet. But we do have at least a few topics here because there has been a little bit going on over the last week and a half, and we'll just jump right into it. But before we do, again, if this is your first time in here, we welcome on you into Dbacks Dispatch. Like, comment, subscribe. It really does help out the algorithm and all that. Make sure you guys follow us on Twitter and Blue Sky. Go to the Discord, which should be in the description below. It's free. It is popping off, especially with us being less than 6 days away now, or 6 days away and less from opening day. It will be absolutely going off during the games. And also make sure you guys go over on acsnakepit.com to check out all the great content we got over there. We will be having some more written article recaps and stuff like that, written by probably Josh and I, a little mixture here and there, bounces back and forth. But again, go on over to acsnakepit.com. There's some great stuff. But like I said, we're just going to dive right into things here because there is a lot to talk about here, and we want to get as much of it done and as much of it discussed as we can before our man Gabe has to leave and exit, because I believe he's going to a different city on his trip, because Gabe is just a world traveler over there. But there was a little bit of roster news that came out just a few days ago, as they are now laying down the law with Dr. Dre in Reno, as the D-backs made a few roster moves. They optioned Kyle Nelson, left-handed pitcher, Dre Jameson, righty, and then infielder Jordan Lawler, all down to Reno. And then they reassigned two players to minor league camp, those two being Scott McGuff and Trey Mancini. And 35 players are now in camp remaining. So the question I had for you gentlemen, as well as everybody along at home listening to this as well, were any of these roster moves really like a surprise or disappointment to you? I know the Lawler one kind of stood out to me, but we obviously talked about it a bunch in spring, where he would basically need to hit like 400 to make his way to the roster, which he wasn't too far off, but obviously didn't do enough to make the opening day bid. But again, were any of these moves a surprise and or disappointment to you, Gabe? I'm going to start with you.
So it wasn't much of a surprise just because Dre is coming back from Tommy John. He had no uh, off season or season in general like he normally would. He didn't even get on the mound until like late September or something like that last year. So he didn't get a chance to work out in Reno. And that's something that usually happens no matter what. No matter who you are, you get assigned to Reno after an injury, and then you just work out whatever you need to work out, stretch out, and then, you're ready to go. So Dre didn't have that. So I didn't think he was going to make the opening day roster just because I think they just wanted him to get more reps in Reno. Like probably after a few weeks or even a month, they probably will call him back up. So that didn't surprise me, and it's fine. I think the bullpen is just strong enough that this doesn't hurt them the way it would have last year. So I think that was all right. And in terms of Lawler, said the same thing. Like unless he batted 400, had like a 10, 1,000 OPS, 1,100 OPS, he probably wasn't going to make the opening day roster. I am a little surprised, anyways, just because he did look very good, especially his defense, and his offense was still very good. I believe still had 900 OPS, but yeah, like he was never going to get the reps that he needed here, and the team knows that, and he knows that he wasn't going to get 15, 20 plate appearances a week while he was up in the big leagues. And so kind of just got to send him to Reno until you get to the point where you feel like, okay, there's some sort of injury, like they can't keep up, with the other injuries or whatever else happens. And then maybe they might call him up then.
Yeah, say on the same page as you. The Dre one doesn't surprise me too much. Obviously, he let his arm build back up a little bit. Yes, he was touching over 100 in spring, but it would be nice to get him a little bit more innings under his belt and that full confidence. And yeah, the Lawler one, definitely, like we said at the beginning, definitely need to see him hit like 400. Unfortunately, didn't. But who knows? Maybe if we do, God forbid, we have no major injuries to the roster that would need a spot for him. But if we do, hopefully he's still tearing the cover off the ball in Reno, so he can just come right up and fill in. But Brandon, same question to you. Of these roster moves that the D-backs made not too long ago, were any of them a surprise to you, or were any of them a disappointment to you?
So I've been going back and forth. A surprise. So for me, it's neither one. Like I I thought they both did enough in spring to be on that roster starting next Thursday. I really did. I thought Lawler was killing it with the bat, and I guess what my thought press was as to how they would use him is not what they want to do. I thought he would I thought he would be the utility guy. So he would fill in for Suarez at third, fill in for Domo at short, fill in for Cattell at second base. He could DH. I thought being able to fill in for those guys was enough to get him the 15, 20 at bats a week. So I think I don't think they're ready to have him play some of those positions yet. So it's fine. Yeah, go ahead and send him down to Reno. We know he's going to be starting every day down there. I just think that talent wise, he is so much better than what he sees in Reno. So like he's not going to get better. He needs to see major league pitching. And with Dre, I understand why they make the move. He's coming off Tommy John. Like he was ready to go in September. They were not, so they gave him the whole entire offseason. I think his stuff is just electric. I love watching him play. So I that one I was a little shocked by. That they decided to option him. It's more likely like they want to make sure, or the reports basically stating that their plan was to have him be a bridge guy, and I'm like, why? Stop this. He is not a bridge guy. He is a high leverage guy. So if you guys don't want to have him as high leverage, I get it. Send him down to Reno so that he can be the high leverage guy.
Yeah, it's a little unfortunate. Obviously, I know both of those guys were wanted on the roster, obviously by Mike and Tori, even a lot of fans. But I think it's just one of those where it's a good problem to have still, especially with the pitching depth. The bullpen will be pretty stacked, so hopefully we see Dre up in the majors at some point. Sorry if you see me looking this way. I'm watching the game as we're doing this. Hopefully we see Dre up in the majors at some point. I mean, I think even like you and Gabe said, like, give it a month or two, he'll probably be up here because it seems like the result I feel like they're going to have a pretty short leash where if Jarvis or maybe even some of these other guys struggle, like if Shelby Miller just does not have a good start to the year, if he's like really struggling in the first month or two, they might cut bait on him, maybe send Jarvis down to the minors, bring up Dre. I think there will be a door that opens for him eventually, but we'll just have to wait to see. To shout out some of the comments here, as we always try to do, obviously. Appreciate every one of you guys tuning in. John Kennedy. Hey, good to see you, John. Say, no, Brandon, put it in the chat. Make sure you email us at diamondbacksdispatch@gmail.com so we can get you get your information so we can get your giveaway stuff out to you because we still want to make sure that this arrives to you hopefully before opening day. So you maybe if you go to opening day, you can have a little bit of wear that Hall of Fame t-shirt, have a little bit of a Dbacks, drip going with you. Corbin Barrel's in here, my man. Appreciate you, Corbin, showing up. Says that only guy I know who takes a trip to Japan and can't even smile, just mean mugging everyone. Giving Gabe a little bit of a ribbon here, but
I'm like in this little Japanese garden right now. I'm like just trying to be as quiet as possible.
That makes sense. It's being respectful as possible as you can in a different country. It looks like Brandon might have just cut out there for a second on his camera feed. So I'll keep reading some of the chats while we get him back in here. Oscar saying that Gabriel is going to Yokohama to see the show's best friend, Trevor Bauer. I say if you do get to see him get lit up in the Japanese league, that would be pretty fun. I know he didn't have the best start to the spring. I think their season is just about to get underway, if not already fully underway. I know they just had the Cubs and the Dodgers there, but I think their season's starting soon.
Yeah, I think it starts this week or something. But yeah, I am going to Yokohama. So if I see Trevor Bauer, I'll probably fight him or something when I'm out there.
Hell yeah, I like it. You have to send us photos and all that of you beating his ass, or even a video. But that'll be a fun time. Hopefully, if he does pitch, you get to see him turn into batting practice because he is trash. John, you know what I do. I always bring out the banger hats, and then even what Corbin Barrels is saying. Yes, Burns is getting slapped around a little bit in spring. Did give up 7, now looks like 8 runs to the Brewers in just 4 innings of work. So him and Freddie Peralta both getting slapped around tonight. But again, it's just working out the kinks. He'll be fine for the season. And even he agrees. Dre makes me sad to think I could hope our bullpen is so deep and lethal, and that's just a good problem to have. But getting on into our next topic here, like I said, we have a decent amount to discuss that we're going to try to fit in here before Gabe has to depart. Topic 2 that we had was Monty Madness. So Jordan Montgomery made his second appearance of spring training. This was his first actual start, where we all know that his first appearance out of the bullpen against the Reds was not a good one. Got absolutely shelled. But this one, much better, much better. He went 2 2/3. He gave up 3 hits, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts. 40 pitches with 20 of them or 23 of them being strikes. The one little thing that wasn't as encouraging was his velocity was maybe barely touching 91. Seemed like he was hovering and sticking around 90. So I'm not sure if that was more of like a purposeful thing of trying to, dial back a little bit and be in the zone, or, maybe he's just genuinely losing some velo. But either way, it did go 2 2/3, no runs, 2 strikeouts on 40 pitches. So decent outing from him. There were some rumors from John Gambadoro of AZ Sports. He was quoted, or he tweeted out on the 19th around 2 o'clock, saying that there has been recent interest from a few teams in trading for Diamondback starter Jordan Montgomery. After a solid 2 2/3 scoreless outing today against Colorado in a spring training start, there may be more, which kind of struck me as a little bit of a surprise. Maybe they were, I guess not too much because teams are always looking for pitching. But Monty has had one horrible outing and one decent outing this spring. And with this in mind, this is my question to you guys. Obviously, again, everybody in chat listening, and you two gentlemen, as well as Josh, our lovely producer sitting in the wings lurking. Josh, I would always like to hear your thoughts on this too. Is with this in mind, what do you see being the most likely option for Jordan Montgomery? A, he earns the 5th spot in the rotation, which in my opinion is probably the least likely. B, he gets moved to the bullpen. And C, he gets traded to any of the teams that are supposedly interested in him. Gabe, I'm curious to see your thoughts on this.
Oh, man, I think he's probably going to get moved to the bullpen. Like we mentioned before, if they trade him now, even at this point, like unless he has thrown 20-something innings in spring with the 1.5 ERA, like nobody is paying us anything for Jordan Montgomery. The most this would be is a salary dump, and even then, it's not even a great salary dump. It's not like they're going to get rid of the $22 million. They're probably going to pay half of that. So at that point, you have to wonder. It's like, would you rather have this left-handed pitcher who has shown you throughout his career he's been very good, or do you want an extra $10 million to put in your pocket? Because I mean, what are you going to do with $10 million? With the way a lot of these salaries are, there's kind of no point to an extra $10 million. Maybe at the trade deadline that might work out for you, like if you get like a more high power reliever who does make a little bit more money. But again, I think Jordan is probably in the situation where you kind of have to just wait and see. I would rather have him in the bullpen, to be the long guy in the bullpen. But the issue with him being in the bullpen, same with a guy like Ryan Nelson or Brandon Pfaadt being put in the bullpen, is just you need to have them pitch 4 innings a week at least, and have around 65 innings in order for them to be able to be stretched out to, not end up like Dre or Duplantier or Archie Bradley, like these guys who the team, for lack of a better word, kind of dicked around a little bit with and moved them up and down the bullpen. Only we're giving them 30 pitches a week, and then they try to stretch them out and then blew out their elbows or blew out their arms and stuff. So you can't have that, especially with the guy with like Montgomery, with the money he's getting paid and his veteran status. He's not going to allow it to happen. Even I'm sure the players union won't allow that to happen either. So I do think if they put him in the bullpen, they have to make him the long reliever and have him kind of just piggyback off of a guy, because especially like to start out the season, none of these guys are going past 5 innings or so, just because of the way it is. So, yeah, I think the most likely option is going to move to the bullpen. I wouldn't be shocked to see him as a starter, and I don't think they're going to move him. There's really no way they're going to move him without eating salary, and you're not getting any good prospects. And would you want to help out a team like the Yankees, who will probably be in the playoffs? I mean, maybe they will. Like with Garrett Cole going down, you don't know anymore. But they still have Aaron Judge. The American League is still pretty weak. I think a lot of the teams that were in the playoffs didn't do much to get better, and so maybe the Red Sox are going to be the team to come out of there. But the Orioles, the Yankees, the teams that might need them. You don't want to face off against them in the playoffs. So I don't think they're going to move him to at least to those teams. And so, yeah, I don't think they're going to do much with him other than maybe put him in the bullpen.
Yes, I think they're going to try to keep their cards close to the chest. Like maybe they do try to, if they do move into the bullpen, and they at least have a few good like outings out of him, because there's always going to be, especially early in the season, probably going to limit guys in their innings and all that. So I wouldn't be surprised if they leave him there. Who knows? Maybe build up his trade value, or come the trade deadline, as long as everyone on our side is healthy. Maybe there's a team that comes knocking. It's like, hey, you know what? I need pitching. Montgomery looks like he's figured it out a little bit. Whether we split the salary or whatnot, or even at least give you some kind of prospect in return, let's get something happening. And I think that's going to be the most likely deal, or the most likely route that they go. But Brandon, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this one as well. Are you on the kind of the same wavelength and same process as Gabe, me, and looks like Josh in our comments as well, who seems like he's down for putting him in the bullpen? Are you in the same process there? Do you think that there's maybe some chance in his final start? I would imagine he gets one more this weekend, maybe in spring, to prove for the 5th spot, or do you think he's going to be dealt away before we reach opening day?
So what I think will happen, what I want to happen, are two different things. I have, like, if you guys have watched us all off season, anytime we're talking Jordan Montgomery, I've been on the train. Trade him. I'm done. Like, there are other guys in this organization that I would rather have starting every 5th day. Like, there is at least 4. So we got Fott, Nelson, Mena, Diaz. Like, there's just so many guys I'd rather have starting than Jordan Montgomery. So my first one would be trade him. Like, and at this point, I don't care if you get a bag of peanuts. I really don't care. Just get him off the roster. If you have to eat the money, you have to eat the money. Like, you have done this to yourself, that you have not been able to make any sort of move up to this point. I also found it interesting how Gamble's reporting about teams being interested. He dropped that after the outing. So I feel like whoever leaked it to him was like, okay, here's the right time to drop this because he pitched well. Because this is not something that changed just during that outing. Like, there were probably teams interested before, and I don't know. I just, like, could they put him in the bullpen? Yes. Would he be good? I don't know. Now, as a reliever, he only has to have like 2 really good pitches. He doesn't have to worry about being good with all 4. So he can just focus on his curveball and his sinker. I'm done with Jordan Montgomery. I don't care who we trade him to. I know Gabe brought up, like, what if you trade him to a team we could face in the World Series? How about we worry about that when we get there? Like, that's a very long road ahead, and the whole mindset of not trading someone because you might face them later on, like, it doesn't bother me. So trade him, bullpen. There's no way that he is the number 5 starter. There is no way Brennan Fott and or Ryan Nelson have earned that spot.
Yeah, his hasn't done enough in spring, in my opinion, to actually do anything. And like I get what you're saying about, like, worrying about getting to the playoffs before you worry about who you're facing, but it's still at least a valid, in my opinion, a valid point from Gabe, just on the one of those where you don't want to potentially boost a future opponent, especially, with every team facing everybody. Who knows, maybe he does get traded to somebody, they figure it out, and then whenever we do come into town, or they come into town, we face him. He has a little bit of a revenge game, and then I can just imagine him going like 6 innings, 1 run, like 7 strikeouts, and being like, oh, cool, like, egg on our face, of course. Like, what is it about being an Arizona Diamondback that makes pitchers just absolutely just a shell of their former selves? But it'll definitely be an interesting decision they have to make. And then I have a little bit of a follow-up question on this one. I know obviously we're probably on the, me and Gabe think he's going to be in the bullpen. Brandon, you want him to be traded. But if he is traded, who ends up eating the majority of his 20+ million? Do you think that it is going to be one of those where, the D-backs will take at least half of it? Do you think maybe it's one of those where maybe a team will be like, all right, like, you can take, maybe 3/4 of it, and we'll throw in some like quadruple A guy, just to help boost the, the minor league rotate, or the minor league system? Or do you think it's gonna be one of those where the only thing that we get out of it is maybe a team taking half of the money, and we basically just shake hands and go our separate ways?
I guess the question for me would be, I guess for you guys as well, which position are we lacking depth in?
I guess third.
First and third. Yeah.
Yeah,
First and third.
I mean, like in the minor league level, like guys we have ready to come up.
First and third.
First
I'm
and
gonna
third.
We have guys. It's just one of those where I don't know
Lawler.
if they're major league ready. Yeah.
Lawler can take over third if needed. So first base would be the only true need. And how many decent to high level prospects are first basemen in the league right now?
Yeah.
And I don't think there is many. Like, I don't think this team is going to be trading Montgomery for a quadruple A, outfielder, or even to some point infielder or pitcher or catcher. A lot of these positions have guys that are kind of ready to go or a year or two away, and trading Montgomery for a guy who's just going to be stuck in, for like comparison, but a Pavin Smith type of guy. Do we want to trade him for a Pavin Smith guy who maybe he's going to be up here, maybe it's just going to be in Reno the rest of his career, who we're not going to do much with, or do you want to write it out? And I think I'd rather write it out, because just the money, it's going to be like $15 million that this team is going to have to eat. And so then, like I said, at most you save $10 million, maybe. Like, you can't do much with that. It doesn't really do much for even the, the tax threshold and all that. So I don't know. I don't see a point to it. So I'd rather just keep him, just write it out with him, see what you can do with him, because I know, Brandon, you're talking about, not look too far ahead, but, when we look at teams that this team lost, the playoff spot, the Braves and the Mets, Dbacks were 3-4, I believe, against the Mets, and they were 2-5 against the Braves. Both of those could have gone the opposite way so easily if it wasn't for just monumental collapses from this team. So if you trade Montgomery, you got to make sure it's for a team that you for sure won't be facing, who won't doom you at some point during the season.
That's a good point. Honestly, that's a good point. Brendan, do you think that it's going to be one of those where they only get money in return and that's the only trade? Do you think there's a existence where maybe they at least get something? Because I feel like Hazen's the kind of guy where if he can even get something rather than nothing, I feel like that's the route he goes. But I'm curious what your thoughts are.
I think they're going to have to cover, like you said, at least $15 million, but be prepared that they're going to have to pay it all. Like, they're going to have to trade Jordan, and they're going to get some probably AA or very low level prospect from that team. And I think at this point, Hazen, you just got it. I feel like that's why a trade has not been done, because so many of them was like, yeah, we will take him off your hands. You continue to pay him and we'll give you nothing, because we know how much you guys want to get rid of him. So I just don't want him out there when I know Brandon Pfaadt is better. There is no, if even in spring, he has looked so much better. Yeah. He was the guy that we counted on all of last season to be there every fifth day. Pfaadt was the only one. Everyone else that was in that starting rotation last year missed a good portion of time. Pfaadt was the only consistent one. Now, Nelson was consistent after July 1st. So, yeah. And that's what sucks, is both of those guys will not be in the starting rotation opening day. Now, they both could end up being starting pitchers throughout the season, but there's just no way. So for me, it's just, Hazen, do whatever you can, because then that makes this decision really easy as to who's the number 5 starter. As long as he's on the team, I have a slight fear that Montgomery's going to get that 5th spot.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be. There's some routes that they can go that will definitely upset the fan base, and then some routes they can go that I think will make the fan base have a deep sigh of relief, and be like, okay, thank goodness. But I guess a little bit of a teaser tonight. Red Sox Nation, Marte is 4-4 tonight. Heck yeah, Marte. D-backs are now up 10-8. This is a crazy game that was started by Corbin Burns and Freddie Peralta. I did not expect this kind of run production from these two, but again, it's just spring, so it'll hopefully not be this crazy come opening day, unless it's just the D-backs scoring all these runs. But speaking of opening day and speaking of starting rotation and all that, that brings us into topic 3. as Torey Lovello and Mike Hazen went up to Zach and they asked him, "Will you be my Galentine?" And they basically asked him or handed him the ball to start opening day for now the third year in a row. And he is set to make his third, like I said, possibly last as well, opening day start as a Diamondback. So the last 2 opening day starts he has had, not like super amazing, but not like terrible. It's kind of like a tale of 2 Zacs. In 2023, when they opened the season against the Dodgers, he went 4 2/3. He gave up 6 hits, 5 earned runs, 3 walks, and 7 strikeouts. And then last year, that game against the Rockies, obviously, like where the offense just put up 17 runs, absolute bloodbath. Zach only went 5 innings with 3 hits, 1 run, 2 walks, and 3 strikeouts. So my question to you fellas and everyone in the chat is, what do you predict will be Zach's final line on potentially his last opening day start as an Arizona Diamondback?
From what I've seen this spring, it's probably gonna be like 5 innings and like 2 or 3 runs. He just ramps up a little bit slower than most people do, and he has had a lot of troubles with the pitch counts. So probably by the time he reaches his pitch count, about 85, I'm assuming, is what Torrey's going to keep him limited to. So probably like 5 innings and 3 runs.
I hope not 5 runs, but the Cubs, I wouldn't be surprised if the Cubs come back from Tokyo and are a little bit hungrier to post more runs, because I know their offense wasn't the best in what they would have hoped for, but hopefully not 5 runs. I definitely think my guess would be definitely kind of in the same 5, maybe 6 if he's efficient with his pitch count. But even like you said, probably going to be limited to like 85, maybe 2-3 runs. I could see a walk or 2, maybe like 5-6 strikeouts, because it's always opening day. People want to start off the season on a right note. Some guys can be swing happy. Some guys can be pretty locked in at the plate. Like some guys want to bust out of their spring slump. Some guys are more than ready to, be patient and start the season off with a walk if they want. So I can see kind of a little mixture of everything, some strikeouts, some swing and miss, some hard hit balls. Because even last year, he had a little bit of an issue where he got some outs, but some of the balls were hit pretty hard. So I could see we're going to see a little bit of a mixture of both. But hey, you know what? I'd take a nice 6 innings, 2 runs, 1 walk, and like 6-7 strikeouts. But that's just me. But Brandon, same thing to you. What do you predict to be Zac Gallen's line once opening day comes to a close, and again potentially his last opening day start as a Diamondback?
Mainly just due to the pitch count, I'm going 5 innings, 6 hits, 3 runs, and 5 Ks. So not a bad line, but not exactly what you would want to see from your ace on opening day. But this decision was super hard for Torrey. I don't envy Torrey. And the thing was, there was not a bad choice in this decision. In this decision between Zac Gallen and Corbin Burns, I think the fan base would have been fine with either one. So Torrey, I don't envy you having to make this choice, but I'm glad that you stuck with your guy. You're loyal. But it's just going to be so great to see how many series we're going to see with both of them pitching. Because if they're both on their A game, if they're both, as I have stated as well, top 5 Cy Young from Corbin and Zach, they have that kind of stuff. We have 2 top Cy Young candidates. They both, if things go well, I could see them both getting 15 wins each, which we haven't had that in a hot minute. We have not. And if things go right, this starting rotation could really put this team really in a really good spot. And we know that this offense is top 10, maybe even top 5. I think they're going to fall off just a little bit, but I still think it is a top of the line starting rotation and a amazing offense. So I'm very excited to be there for Galentine's Day in 6 days.
Yeah, it's going to be an absolute blast. It's going to be a party. I know I'm going to be there. I think Brandon's going to be there. Gabe, I don't know if you're going to be back in town or if you're going in general.
Josh will be there as well. So
heck yeah. So if you see any of us, shout us out or find us. We'd love to have a conversation with you, talk some D-backs ball, get to know you guys, and see everybody else that's watching along with our show because we do like to meet you guys and interact with you guys.
Yeah.
But
I just want
just
to say real quick
Yeah.
with this decision, like we've seen Tori do this before, kind of just get like I guess the longer tenured guy to start the season, like we saw in 2018 with Patrick Corbin. He had Zac Greinke there. And instead of choosing Zac Greinke to open the 2018 season, he chose Patrick Corbin just because it was the last year, and kind of as maybe a consolation for not playing him at all during the 2017 playoffs, which he should have, and he probably would have gone further if he would have used Corbin, who was the best pitcher in the second half of the team of that season. But giving it to a guy like Zach or like Corbin, just kind of this longer tenured guy who was there during like the worst parts of the season, or this D-backs franchise. Like they lost 110 games with Zac Gallen on this team, and with Merrill as well. Like even if they would have chosen Merrill, I might have been okay with it as well. Either way, you want to start the season off on a good foot, and I think giving the ball to a guy like Gallen, who has been here, who has shown that he deserves this. It's not like he's like a charity thing. Like he deserves to get the ball on opening day, but so does Corbin Burns. So either way, I think the Thursday game and Friday game are going to be electric, and hopefully there's not too many runs scored from the other teams.
Yeah, so because Brandon was talking about even Corbin Barrels bringing up in the chat about the top 5 Cy Young season from both of them, it just makes me jealous that Dodger fans got to experience both fucking Clayton Kershaw and Zac Greinke in the insane like peaks that they were. I mean, obviously we got to see it on our end of every time we matched up with those guys, where it's like, oh, cool, you get Kershaw game 1 and Greinke game 2. Let's hope to not get swept in game 3 because don't know if you're going to win those. I'm hoping that's what a lot of fan bases think whenever they
That's
face
what I
those.
want. That's what I want other fan bases to worry about this season.
Exactly.
No, we face these two in a series. We got to get at least one. We got to get at least one.
That'd be absolute peak. That feed families, and that would be the best kind of outcome that we would get for any of it. But again, it's one of those where we've seen the good and the bad from Zach. Hopefully we get some nice 2023 Zac Gallen and not a mixture of what we got in last year, which Zach still had a really solid year last year, but there definitely were, some starts where it's like he was really good. And then some of the starts where it's like, oh my goodness, like what happened to the Zac Gallen that we know and love. But still, I think it's just, even like Gabe said, it's honestly, I definitely see why he went with the Gallen. Both of them deserved it, but it's just go with the guy that, could be his last one. Give it to him. He's been the ace of this team, and again, he still deserves it. So moving on from discussions on the starting rotation to a little bit of news that actually came out today. And this was in regard to a little bit of the bullpen, as we had a little bit of breaking news in our Discord from our man Nugget, which was later then tweeted out maybe 10 minutes later by not more reliable in the sense like Nugget's not reliable, but somebody on Twitter that is known in the MLB community for putting out information like that. It was confirmed that Justin Martinez did in fact sign an extension with the Dbacks, and they did buy out, I believe, 2 of his arbitration years, as there is a tweet from Gambadoro at 4:19 earlier today where he said, here are the details on the Justin Martinez contract. It is a 5-year deal for $18 million with a $2 million signing bonus and $16 million spread out over 5 years. There are 2 club option years at $7 million and $9 million. So again, I believe it bought out 2 of his arbitration years, so they've avoided at least 2 of those RB years, because arbitration, we've talked about before, not a fun process for both the player and the team. And if Justin Martinez can pan out the way that I imagine a lot of us are hoping that he pans out, this seems like it could be a really lucrative contract for the Snakes. But my question to you, gentlemen, as well as obviously everybody at home listening along with us, was how surprised were you by this deal, and how would you rank this extension on a scale of 1 to 10? AKA, is it a pretty rough one, or is this going to be another common Mike Hazen W?
Hold up. Gabe, I think you're back.
Oh, just getting his.
There
Did you need me to repeat the question for you, good sir?
Yeah, real quick. I just dropped out.
Oh, no, you're good. No worries. So obviously knowing that J-Mark got the 5-year extension with $18 million guaranteed, buying out some of his RB years, my question to you guys was, how surprised were you by this deal, and how would you rank this extension on a scale of 1 to 10?
So, I mean, I guess I didn't expect it just because they haven't really extended relievers or even pitchers in general. So this was a bit of a shock, but at the same time, it's not a shock just because of how great Jerry Mart was and how good he's looked in spring. And there's been a lot of people mentioning, like in comments and stuff under the posts from the D-backs, saying, like, it doesn't really move the needle much. Like, they only got the 5 years, like that were already in control. But some of the reports have come out that it's 2 more club option years for him as well. One for, I believe, 7 million or 6 million, then another one for
9
9 million as well for the last year. So he'll still be like 28, 29 when he becomes a free agent. So he can still get a potential Edwin Diaz type deal. If he's still good enough, he can still get that sort of 5-year, $100 million deal. So, it's not like the D-backs are screwing him out of money, really. Like, they're just trying to buy up some arbitration years because I went back and I looked up Josh Hader, and I know maybe comparing him to Josh Hader might be a little, crazy right now, but you never know. I tried to look up Class A, but Class A signed an extension as soon as he could. Same with J Mart. And it's about the same thing. It's a 5 years, 20 million for Class A. So I looked up the arbitration years, and Hader's first arbitration year was 4 million. That was the start of the end in Milwaukee because he put in for 6. They kind of just blamed him again, like they did with Corbin Burns. Kind of blamed him for a lot of stuff. That he didn't get a certain amount of saves that he needed for that sort of money, and so he kind of just got screwed out of $2 million from them. Then the next year he did get a 6, and then his last year with he was with the Padres, I believe he got 14 million. So if you combine that, that's more money than J Mart's going to be getting in total from this deal. So just being able to buy up some of those arbitration years, because if he's as good as advertised, you're talking about the sliding scale from 5 million for his first arbitration year, 10 million, and even up to 15 million. So the team's going to be spending a lot of money on those last couple of years of arbitration. So they might end up having to do what they did with Hader and just have to trade him because they can't afford the 15 million, that he gets in arbitration. So this way you're able to pay him, keep his salary relatively low while he also gets paid, gets life-changing money, and again, he's going to be young enough that he's able to get another $100 million from this deal, from his next deal, and he'll be just set up for life like he is now. And I'm sure he's happy, and I'm sure he's happy about the fact that he doesn't have to worry about saving games. He doesn't have the same pressure. I know Brandon talked about that. Maybe he gets into his own head a lot. Well, this is going to help him, I think, because he no longer has to worry about being the closer. Closers get that sort of money. Hader, Edwin Diaz, Class A. A lot of these guys get those huge contracts because they're closers. A lot of these guys in the bullpen want to be the closer because they know being a closer is going to add an extra few million into your bank account. So now J Mart, all he has to worry about is going out there and putting up zeros. He doesn't have to worry about saving a certain amount of games to get an extra few million. He can go on the 7th, 8th, and 9th and not have to worry about any of that.
I think you bring up some great points there, honestly. Of maybe this kind of helps him calm down a little bit on the mound, not in his head as much as again, shout out Cranberries, not in his head as much about being absolute nails out there. Like I still think he's gonna be nails, but maybe he doesn't have to worry about like, oh, if I have a bad game or two, like they could send me back down to Reno and bring up Dre Jameson or another guy. Like not like they would, but you never know what's gonna be going through a mind of a young reliever. And I do agree, it gives him a little bit of money. Kind of lets him settle in and at least know that he is going to be paid. And then again, he's still going to be young once this extension is over with, and could get some Edwin Diaz type money, especially if he's going to again profile into the kind of closer and kind of arm that we expect him to. You never know. So at least the D-backs are, continuing this trend of giving some of their young players and the guys that have, trusted them and let them develop in their system a nice little payday, almost as early as possible as they can. But Brandon, same question to you. How surprised were you by this extension? And then what would you rate it on a scale of 1 to 10?
So I was surprised because J Mart was not on my list of guys that we needed to extend. It is Zac Gallen, and then it's Gabby. Like those were the next two for me. I'm like, we need to extend these guys. But the fact that they did J Mart, like this is so team friendly right now. Like if J Mart blows up this year, like we all hope and know he should, like he would have wanted a whole lot more than this. Like Gabe said, like closers get close to 14, 15 a year. Not this, which is, yes, it's a 5-year deal, but it's more like a 7-year deal because the options are at the end. So it's the year 6 is the 7 million option, year 7 is the 9 million dollar option. So for me, I know they said that he's not the closer, but this deal to me says that that's what they see him as. Like, you don't pay a reliever that money unless you see them in the future as your closer, which he was for a good portion of the season last year. And I think they want him to be the guy. But I just think it's a whole mindset thing with him. Like, if he's the closer, he's going to think, like, he's going to get into his own head. So I really hope that just the fact that now he is financially secure, that maybe that does calm him down on the mound, and we see just J-Mart just absolutely just destroy teams on the mound. Just like, I can't wait to see how many saves he has with 3 strikeouts or 2 strikeouts. Like, his stuff is just, it is nasty. Like, there's probably still a lot of casual ball watchers who saw this report that was tweeted out by the big accounts like Fox Sports, MLB. They're like, who? I'm like, you better learn his name because you're going to now. Because that splitter, sinker, his fastball, even his sliders, like, all 4 of his pitches are disgusting. So I am so happy that we're going to have J-Mart here for a while.
Yeah, even if he doesn't, strike out like every single batter he faces or 2 to 3, as long as he just limits the walks, that's my biggest key. And if this could, like, keep that down, then I'm very okay with it. Some of the people in our comment section, Corbin Barrels is excited. He's saying effing 15 out of 10. I like it. Breaking the scale with how good of a deal this is, and I agree. Common Mike Hazen, please. John Kennedy saying, I love it. It's a 10. And then even like John saying, Ken is letting the money flow. And that is actually really nice to, really, I do fully agree. I do think that the team is fully out of the hole that they were in whenever he took it over. And now that they're out of it and it seems like they're going to be constantly making money and making a profit, he's like, you know what? Like, I'm willing to spend not just when they have a chance to make the playoffs, or even a year after they make the playoffs. It's like, I'm willing to build and put money into this team in the future, and it's really nice to see. I do agree with you. Give Gabby a little extension. That'd be nice. If they can get Gallen back on a decent enough deal in free agency, do that as well, because it just makes this team even stronger and gives it a little bit more depth. But again, just in general, really nice extension. Really nice to see that they trust J Mart the way they do, and they're going to be, hopefully celebrating. Hopefully Martinez, I don't see him in the game tonight, so hopefully he's throwing a little party to celebrate. But moving on to our 5th topic, the D-backs actually have a little Vargy party going on. As Garrett
topics today. Sorry, they have me going today.
As the D-backs, what was it? He was on a minor league invite. Garrett Hampson did exercise his opt-out deal with the D-backs, but per Gambo, it's, quote, just procedural, and that he's, again, quote, very much in competition with Vargas for the utility role. So this is basically, I assume, him just saying, like, hey, you know what, like, you haven't sent me down yet. If you do send me down, I'm just going to just tell you right now that I'm not going down to Reno. I'm going to become a free agent. And again, he's had a really solid spring. Vargas is an even better spring. So it's going to be a tough decision no matter who they decide to go with. So it has me wanting to ask you gentlemen, again, everybody else in chat that's listening or listening at home, who would you take for the utility infield role? Hampson, who has blazing speed and can be a really solid bench bat and pinch runner. Again, he is super fast on the bases. Or would you lean and go with Ildemaro Vargas, who is a switch hitter who's been tearing the cover off the ball in the Cactus League, who now has a slash of 341, 408, 568, all for a 976 OPS plus? Gabe, I'm going to start with you like usual.
So yeah, just to explain real quick about the Hampson thing, this is just procedural, just a way for the team to not be able to send him down to Reno. He opts out, he doesn't get sent to Reno, so he stays in the big league ball club. Like, no matter what, this team can't send him down. I believe Kevin Newman did the same thing last year, and he ended up on the team. So it's just procedural. It's nothing, where he's completely out and it's just going to be Vargas. So it's still a competition. I'd rather have Hampstead, and like I know as great as Vargas has been, I'd rather have Hampstead just because of the speed that he has. We need pinch runners a lot of the times, and we can't just burn, like an Alec Thomas or any of our other young speedsters when somebody slower gets on base. Like if, let's say, Josh Naylor gets on base. Now, with Hampstead, he can, cover first as well if he needs to, but he also has the speed to steal second base, and then suddenly there's a rally going. So I'd rather have him. Like I said, as great as Vargas has been, he's also been a guy who's bounced around a lot, and there's a reason why he's bounced around a lot. He can do great in spring, but once the season starts, he's not getting as many at bats. Who knows how low his production can get? Like, is it going to be this 900 OPS guy, or is it going to be like a 750 guy, like he's been most of his career? So I'd rather have Hampstead personally, but I don't think they can go wrong with Vargas really.
Yes, I think it's definitely going to be a tough call either way. Again, another time to point out, I'm glad I don't have to make these decisions that Hazen and Torrey do, because both guys have been doing really well, especially in that game. I believe it was yesterday, where it seemed like kind of like both of them. Obviously, one of their like they both started in the game and they both went off. I think Hampson went 3 for 4, had a stolen base or two. Vargas went 4 for 4. Again, just absolutely tearing the cover off the ball. But you do make a great point. Is who knows? Maybe if he has less at bats, he doesn't hit as well. Maybe this is just continuation from him hitting in the Dominican Winter League, where he has a little bit more of a step forward than some of these guys. Sort of once the pitchers kind of get caught up a little bit more and their arms stretched out, maybe they find a hole in a swing. Who knows? But I do agree. I think that Hampson and his speed would be a nice little extra something off the benches. Plus, I think the team can still be a little bit lefty, which I know that Vargas being a switch hitter kind of like solves that. But still, in general, I think that having Hampson off the bench would be a pretty solid option just for the speed and everything alone. But Brandon, I'm curious to see your thoughts too. Are you going to go with the speedy defender and the nice pinch runner in Hampson, or are you going to end up going with the switch hitter Vargas, who's been absolutely scorching hot in the Cactus League?
Can I take both? Because they both have earned it, in my opinion. They both have played tremendous the entire spring. Now, if you look at Vargas's numbers, yeah, they're better. He has more power than Garrett Hampson, but it's like Gabe said, like his ability, his speed to be a pinch runner, like if there's a ball hit into the gap at Chase Field, Hampson scores on a double easily. Vargas, I think it's close. Like, so that's and then the fact is he can also play center field. So if it is, for example, we pinch hit him, say, pinch run for him, say in the 8th inning for Gurriel, you can put him in center and then like Jacob left, like if Jake is starting that day. So personally, I would go with Hampson. And it's a lot like Gabe said, what's going to happen to Vargas if he does make it and he has one at bat a week or 3 at bats a week? Is that bat going to stay as hot as it has all spring? I highly doubt it. So that's why I'm leaning towards Hampson, because I think it is more impactful to the team. Like his speed, like that's just something you can't teach. It's just something that a lot of these guys have. So nothing against Vargas. And I know Vargas is versatile. He can play all 3 infield positions as well. Like he can play first. So it's Hampson for me.
D-backs have a ton of tough decisions they've had to make and still have to make. But my goodness, is it a nice feeling to know that, like, you're not having to worry about taking a guy who, in all respect, I love Pavin. I mean, maybe love is a weird way to put it. Like you're not having to worry about filling a hole and decide between mid for mid. You're looking at, both guys that, like even Brandon said, both guys deserve it. Both guys have had a stellar spring toward just kind of like the bullpen, kind of like the starting rotation. This is a good problem to have. And it just really shows the depth that the team does have with a lot of the guys on the roster, and even just within the 35 remaining in spring camp. But it's going to be a tough decision that somebody has to make, and I do not envy them at all because, they're both very deserving. They've both been really solid in spring. Then going on to our next and final topic here, because I know Gabe is gonna, I believe, have to be dipping out soon. But I wanted to get this one in because this one was fun. There's been a little bit of news. Obviously, it's been teased for over like the last like year and a half. Even Derek Hall. I was trying to find the comments and like the actual quote a little while ago, but I couldn't. But I do know that he was quoted in saying that they were basically going to have some kind of purple and or teal in their new City Connect uniforms. Because the City Connect uniforms, it doesn't change every year like it does in the NBA for all of their, crazy uniforms, but they do end up getting new ones. We just saw the Astros get their own new set of uniforms, which in my opinion, I like those a lot better than the Space City ones. Space City ones were good, but I do like the Astros ones newer, or the new Astro ones a little bit better. But the D-backs are going to end up getting a new City Connect this year. And it was, I believe, in an article saying that the new City Connect uniforms are rumored to be coming out on May 9th. So we do have a little bit longer to go. So it's not like we'll see any, actual releases anytime soon, in my opinion, unless we get some crazy leaks, which would be fun. But there also, again, has been rumored to have some variation of purple and teal. And even we got tagged in this on our socials, the Suns uniform tracker account, who was getting, I believe, some information from guys that do have some sources involved in the team and whatnot, or at least from what I believe, they do have some sources involved in the team and whatnot. They did come up with a little bit of a mock design from what they've been hearing and plus some new information. And they even said this in their tweet when they put it out there, saying not that this is a definitely it, but it could be close. I kind of like it. It's basically the same Serpientes script, but instead of obviously, being like the sand, like the sand color with the black font, the Serpientes is teal along with the number on the jersey being teal. And then the uniform is kind of like, I don't know if gradient's the correct term, but kind of the top is a little bit purple. And as it gets down into the middle of the torso to the waist section of the jersey, it kind of goes into a little bit of black, which kind of makes me think that maybe they'll have like some dark pants to go along with it. Again, not too sure. There's nothing fully concrete about it, which we will have more. So again, another reason why you guys follow us over on Dbacks Dispatch over on Twitter and the Instagram, TikTok, all that as well, because we will put out the information as soon as we have the information, as soon as we have a little bit of a better idea. But my question to you guys, obviously, we'll try to link it. We would have the graphic up here, but we are having a little bit of an issue with the streaming service that we're using, so we don't have the actual graphic to show you guys, but we could try to link the tweet. But again, question to you guys is, one, how excited are you for a potential purple/teal City Connect? And then do you also see it being a different color variant of the Serpientes, kind of like what's shown in the Suns uniform tracker mockup? Or do you think it's going to be a brand new design in its entirety and the Serpientes is going to be gone and we're going to see something brand new and fresh?
I would hope to keep the Serpientes because I think that looks really cool, just like all the actual merch and design of the Serpientes logo. I guess kind of like the easiest way that they could do it is just have the like the vest uniform, the white one with the stripes, pinstripes on it, just with Serpientes written on it, and because it also has copper in it, like it would look really cool just to have, like, I believe that jersey had Arizona. I'm not 100% sure right now. It might have had Arizona in front of it, so instead of Arizona, just Serpientes, same jerseys, just with that, and maybe make it an actual vest. Have the players have the purple undersleeves. I think that would look really cool. But sometimes these Nikes City Connects are really hit and miss. So I'm excited to see some purple again. I think the fans have really wanted it for a long time. I'm always surprised that there isn't purple included in these new generations of uniforms, but I do like teal. One of my favorite jerseys of all time is the Teal Tuesday ones, the white ones, which they got rid of, which frustrated me a bit that they got rid of that one. But the black one with the teal on it's great as well. So I do think they're probably just going to keep the Serpientes because a lot of them have kept the same sort of motto, unless they do maybe like a native one like they do with the Suns. Maybe I can see something like that, but it seems to be like it'll be the Serpientes thing again, which, like I said, I'm completely fine with. All the iterations that they've done with them for giveaways have looked amazing, so why not get an official version of those?
Yeah, the pinstripe one, I think it might be the one that you're talking about is the, like, with the pinstripe. I think it says like Diamondbacks across the chest.
Yeah,
because the one that says
it's either
Arizona
one.
I've seen in purple, like full solid purple, and then the full solid black for the road.
It's
And
the ones that they wore for the World Series. Those last ones, aren't they the white ones?
The white ones that they wore, I believe, in the World Series for all the home games were just the vest with just the A.
Oh, it's an A. Okay, yeah. All right,
Yeah.
yeah, that's right. So I
But
mean,
the one
put
I
the
believe
S
from
logo on
90,
it.
I think the one from the 98, like the inaugural season that they still wore for a while there, was at least one of my favorites of all time. Like I love the one that says Arizona across the front. I think one kind of like that one would be sick. Like I'm looking at it, I have MLB The Show on my screen right over here, so I kind of have it in front of me. The one where it's like the purple that says Arizona and the Arizona the font is in teal with like copper outlining. I think something like that would be really cool, like a little bit of a throwback homage to that. Maybe again throw in some of the pinstripes because even as John Kennedy is saying in our comments here saying pinstripes, please. I do agree. A little bit of a pinstripe action would be beautiful. A nice homage to the team. It'd be a great way to, kind of please the fans where they're not going to fully bring back the old, purple and teal uniforms that we had up until 2008 or 2007. Sorry. We're not going to fully get those back, but at least it's a way to bring it back again. I will get all the hat variations that they have of it. Don't tell my wife. I'm just kidding. I need a bit of a little thing to put on my hats first before I do that. But it'll definitely be something that I'm excited to see. And I'm just, pumped. Any kind of purple and teal coming back into our lives for the Dbacks is always an absolute blast. But Brandon, same question to you. Do you think that it's going to be, or one, I guess, how excited are you for a potential purple and teal City Connect? And two, do you see it being a different color variant of the Serpientes like shown in the mock-up, or do you think it's going to be just a brand new redesign, kind of like how we saw the MLB already do with the Astros, where they went from the Space City to just kind of a new one that just says Stros on it?
Just make sure you have the flag on there. Like that's what I love about this mock-up we were tagged in. I love the Arizona flag as a patch. I think that for me is great. I just had purple and teal in there, like some sort of mixture of it, and like I don't want it to kind of look like any of our other jerseys. That's the one issue I had with this one is that like this just looks like our normal, like our current City Connects Serpientes. They just added the purple and teal. Like I want it to look completely different than our other jerseys, because to me that's what the City Connects are. Is they're supposed to be something different and unique. So I'm very excited. I kind of hope we get an announcement of what it looks like in April because they're wearing it on May 9th. That's not when it's announced.
Okay.
That's when they're wearing it is on May 9th. Like that's the first game that they're going to wear it at. So I feel like we should get an announcement in like a month or less, maybe 3 to 4 weeks. So that has me pretty excited. Just yeah, like all I ask is purple and teal. Like do not like I like the Sedona red. We have plenty of that in our jerseys right now. Like the fan base wants purple and teal. I don't think there's any D-backs fan you could ask that would say, "Oh no, the purple and teal is no." Everybody loves the purple and teal. So bring it back,
I
please.
got that shit fucking tattooed on me for a good goddamn reason. It's one of
Yeah.
it's the best colorway they've ever had, and that's why
Yeah.
for my first tattoo I was like, yeah, give me. Plus, I'll say it all the time. I got this in 2021 when they were absolute dog ass, so nobody can say that I'm a bandwagon fan and got this when they got good again. But yeah, say like bring back the purple teal just in any form. Whether it's pinstripe, whether it is a little bit of a different. I'm kind of torn. I'm kind of on both of your guys' side. I do like, I do agree with Brandon, a little bit different. They're usually all supposed to be different, but even like Gabe was saying that sometimes the City Connects can be a little bit hit or miss. So I wouldn't mind if they don't tinker with the Serpientes script as much. Maybe again keep the Serpientes, but have a little bit of purple, throw some pinstripes in there, make it a vest too, because the vest look is I wish they would have never gone away from the vest look for baseball jerseys because they are one of the better looking things. One of my favorites that's non D-backs is like the old Cincinnati Reds one, like the Barry Larkin era, where it's like that Reds pinstripe. Like one pinstripes are absolutely sexy, and then a vest pinstripe with purple and teal feeds families, it gets the people going, and it'll just again, I will buy a new jersey. I'll get some more hats. I'll get, some more
I don't
t-shirts,
need a
hoodies.
reason to buy another jersey, but if you want to give me one.
Exactly. Like if you it's one of those like, oh no, I guess. Like, I mean, my one Serpientes jersey I have is a Seth Beer one, so it'd be nice to have a City Connect one of hey, I got it on opening day after he hit the walk-off.
That's
I
the
literally
only he ever did in his career.
Hey, it's still on National Beer Day. Great memory. Always remember it. But I'd like to have a new one with one of the current players. But again, we'll have a little bit more information. Even like Brandon said, hopefully we'll see an actual teaser in April, and maybe even before then some leaks. Another good reason why to join the Discord, because with our man Nugget in there, maybe he's going to get some early drops, some early deets, and a little bit more of information as we go along before any official accounts put it out. But yeah, so there was a lot to talk about here, obviously, on tonight's episode. Like, it was nice not doing the normal like spring training, like just game recap, which don't you worry, once we get into the spring training, we will be doing more game recaps, obviously talking about all the lines and all that, but with it still being spring and all the, the up downs and guys being subbed out after the 4th or 5th inning and all that was still just, nice to at least have some more topics and whatnot to discuss for some Dbacks baseball. But before we get on out of here, any final thoughts from you gentlemen, whether on, obviously I know we talked about the Lawler and Jameson move, we have the Monty topic, Galentine getting opening day, J-Mart extension, Vargy party, and the City Connect. Anything that, maybe your final thoughts that you just had popped in your brain, something that you wanted to touch on earlier, but you didn't get to and you want to before we, get on out of here?
Gabe, you got anything?
No?
No.
You're trying to let the birds stay mute in the background. I like it. They're going crazy over there. They're yelling at you. Brandon, what about you?
6 days. I am so excited for opening day. Like, you guys have no idea. I will say this until I'm blue in the face. MLB opening day needs to be a national holiday.
I agree.
Or just give it off to everybody so everyone can go to a game on opening day, because that experience is truly unlike anything you'll ever go to. And I know in past years, it's very funny to see what the crowds are opening day and then the next day. I think with this series, with the Cubs, we're going to see some record crowds, because
Cubs always show out, especially right out of spring training. Like, their fans probably planned
Phoenix is Chicago West. Like, the amount of Chicago transplants that we have here. My
grandparents were from Chicago, and my mom was born there before they moved here.
The percentage is just out of this world. So you might be able to go Sunday, but good luck Thursday, Friday, Saturday. It is going to be busy. So we are all very excited. All 4 of us are going to be there on Thursday. So if you're there, say hi, say what's up. If you want to grab a picture, I'm all for it.
Yeah, same. I'll be easy to spot, the long guy or the long haired guy, glasses, and I'll probably be wearing this hat because I don't see too many other people wearing it, and it's a really easy way to stand out in the crowd. Because again, with the 45 plus thousand fans that are probably going to be there on Thursday, it'll be a great way to stand out. But again, we appreciate each and every single one of you guys for tuning in here for another episode of Dbacks Dispatch, as we are, again, just less than a week away from official games being back. There will be games back at Chase Field this next Monday and Tuesday, which I'll be there for the Monday game. But again, thank you each and every one of you guys for tuning in, listening at home, whether you're listening on Apple, Spotify, even listening to the YouTube replay, or if you're live in the chat here like Oscar, Corbin Barrels, and John. Appreciate each and every single one of you guys. Again, a reminder, follow us on Twitter and Blue Sky. A bunch of banger memes out there. Gabe's been putting out some absolute heaters, even though he's over in Japan. He does not miss. He does not take days off when it comes to putting out bangers on on Twitter. So follow us on over there. Like I said, join the Discord. A bunch of other D-backs fans like yourself in there, always talking ball, always, kind of building the community, and it's an absolute blast to be in there. We're really happy with the trend that we've seen. It's just absolutely popping off. So join the party, especially before the season starts, because it's just going to only get more fun. And also, as a reminder, as always, go check over on azsnakebit.com. See all the amazing articles that are posted constantly every single day. There's deep dives, there's analysis, there's just discussion pieces, all that fun stuff. You guys will love what AZ Snakebit has over there. Especially, we'll have some more written articles and recaps on these that you guys are listening to in a little bit more of a written form. You can kind of get, a little more humor, a little more stuff digestible in that format. But again, I've been Brett. Gabe, joining us from Japan. Appreciate you for setting aside time before, I know you're busy on your trip. Brandon joining us as well. And then our man Josh on the ones and twos, showing the back. We have been D-Backs Dispatch, and we will see you guys on the next episode. Take it easy. Under the lights.
in the back, bringing it